Hello guys, Uncle Sam here. Tell me, if you have 2 wishes to make that can change your life forever, what will you wish for? Let's get into the story. Once upon a time, in a small community in Africa, 2 boys, Darweshi and Chumbo, who have been friends since they were kids and could not go to school because their parents were poor, were working on a building site. The day was already getting dark, and the other workers have closed for the day. But Darweshi and Chumbo decided they wanted to do overtime to see if they could make more money. They both have dreams of what they wanted to become in life, but life had not been fair to them. As the day got darker and they could hardly see, the supervisor asked them to close for the day. As they were paid for the day and were on their way home, walking down to where they can get a bus, going to their place, Darweshi looked sad. He said, "This money is not enough to pay for my younger sister, Yumna's school fee. I will really have to work harder, because if I can't pay by the end of this week, she will be kicked out of school." Chumbo smiled and said, "My brother, you worry too much. Since your parents died, you have been doing everything for your younger sister Yumna. If you drop dead now, do you think she will not survive? Your sister, Yumna, is old enough to get a job or even get married. Why must you keep suffering yourself to pay for her fees in the university?" Darweshi smiled and said, "She is all I have, and I promised my mother on her dying bed that I would take care of her, and if I can't go to school, she must go and finish her university." Chumbo said, "Well, that is your business. Before I can help anybody in this life, I must have made millions. I don't care who the person is, I must come first. If I were you, I would look for a nice husband for your sister." Darweshi, he replied in anger, "Get a husband for who? My 15-year-old sister. You are not serious." Chumbo said, "Well, my money is for me and my girlfriend. We are going out to the club this night." As they were walking down a lonely path near the bushes, they came across a very small old woman with a hunchback, carrying a big water pot on her head. As she walked past them, Darweshi greeted the woman. The woman turned and said to them, "Please my sons, can you people help me carry this water? It is really heavy and I am very tired." Darweshi said, "It's okay, Ma, we will help you." Chumbo stopped him and asked him, "What is wrong with you? You want to help who? Can you see how late the time is? And this area is dark, you don't even know where she is going to." "But we can't leave her like this," Darweshi replied. "I'm sure she is staying around here somewhere." He went over and took the water pot from the old woman's head. Chumbo wanted to continue the journey alone, but he remembered that he is not too good with roads, and it was already getting dark. If he leaves Darweshi behind, he might get lost before he gets to the main road, so he reluctantly followed them. As they walked back toward where they were coming from, the old woman said, "My name is Mama Kioni." Then she asked, "So what are you young boys doing around here by this time?" "We were working on a new construction site just down the road. We closed late and we are heading to the main road to get a bus home," Darweshi replied, smiling as he spoke. The woman said, "I see." As they walked, they were going deeper into the forest. Chumbo, who was getting angry, asked, "Mama, so where do you live?" "We are going deeper into the forest," the woman said in her small shaky voice. "Don't worry my sons, it is just down the road, we will soon get there." As they continued, they came near a small hut almost in the heart of the forest, and Darweshi dropped the water pot. The woman thanked him very well. As they were leaving, she called them back and said, "I have something for you boys. Can you come inside my house please?" They hesitated, but the old woman was persistent that they would love it, so they went into her small hut. As they got inside, It is a mystical place filled with small people, and so many little houses. It looked like they are in a different world. It is daylight inside the place, and almost night where they were coming from. Darweshi and Chumbo's eyes widen in shock, surprised at what they are seeing. Immediately they become scared. The old woman smiled and said, "Don't be scared, welcome to my world." She took them to a small house, and as they got in, they sat down, and the old woman brought a small native pot and placed in front of them, and said, "My sons, thank you for helping me today. I have a reward for both of you." She said, "This is a magical pot. Both of you have 2 wishes to make. This pot cannot bring back dead people or turn back time, but it can give you any other thing you seek for in life." Then she pointed at Darweshi and said, "You are the one that carried the water pot for me, and you have a good heart. That is why you could see me when I passed by, because only a man with a pure heart can see my kind. So go first, make a wish, carry the pot and make your first wish." Darweshi said, in a quiet voice, "Can I wish for money?" The old woman said yes, any amount. Darweshi smiled and said, "I wish to receive 500,000 for my business." Immediately, the money appeared in a bag next to him. He was so happy and thanked the old woman, and said in excitement, "Now I can start my business and take good care of my sister Yumna." The old woman smiled and said to him, "You are a good, modest and sincere man. Because you have wished for little, which will not be enough to set you up, I will double it." Extra 500,000 appeared in another bag next to Darweshi. He went on his knees and thanked the woman, promising to use the money wisely. Mama Kioni turned to Chumbo, who was now feeling very confident, and said to him, "My son, you have 2 wishes. Go ahead and make your first wish." Chumbo took the pot from the old woman and said, "I wish that this pot will become mine." Darweshi was surprised. He said, "Chumbo, what kind of wish is that?" Chumbo looked at the old woman for a sign of approval. The old woman quietly said, "Well, it is your wish." Then she asked, "So what is your second wish?" Chumbo, who was over the moon by now, said, "I wish that as this pot is mine, anytime I put my hand inside the pot, I will bring out money for the rest of my life." The old woman smiled and said, "You have your wish, the pot is yours, but you are a very greedy person, and I must advise you, invest your money in something, and make more money, because nothing lasts forever." Chumbo laughed like he has won a lotto. He was so happy that his life has changed. He dipped his hand inside the pot and pulled out a lot of money. Then he said, "I am made for life." Darweshi said, "So what happens to my second wish?" Mama Kioni smiled and said, "Whenever you want to make that wish, just say so, and you will have it." The old woman went into the kitchen, and after a while she came out and said, "Food is ready. As my guest, both of you should sit down and eat." They both sat down and ate, and after eating, she gave them a glass of red wine and asked them to drink it. As they drank the wine, they started feeling sleepy, uncontrollably. They tried to stay awake but could not, and they slept off immediately. The next day, Chumbo woke up on his bed, in his bedroom. He was surprised. He said to himself, "Was it all a dream?" As he stood up from the bed, he saw the pot in one corner of his room. He quickly ran to it and dipped his hand into the pot, and his hand was filled with money. As he pulled it out, he was so happy. He took his phone and called Darweshi. Darweshi, who was still sleeping in his house, was woken by Chumbo's call. As he picked the call, Chumbo was shouting on the other end, "We have made it! We have made it!" Darweshi opened his eyes and saw himself in his bedroom. He asked Chumbo, "What are you talking about?" I had a very interesting dream, Chumbo shouted. It is not a dream. Look around your room. As Darweshi looked, he saw the 2 black bags. As he opened it, it was filled with money. He shouted for joy and thanked the old woman. That was how Darweshi and Chumbo's life changed. Chumbo went on to buy a mansion for himself, while Darweshi remained in his house and invested his money in his business. Before you know it, Chumbo, who was spending lavishly, became the talk of town. He goes to the clubs every evening and throws money in the air. People were singing his praises and always coming around him. He sent away his old girlfriend and dated the most beautiful women in their community. He goes around with 5 convoys of black sets of latest SUVs. Sometimes he will move on white sets of Rolls Royce, with bodyguards all over the place. While Darweshi was gradually building his business, he tried severally to call Chumbo and advise him to know how he spends his money, but Chumbo did not listen to him and stopped picking his phone calls. One afternoon, Darweshi went to see his friend Chumbo, who was sitting in his living room with so many girls, drinking and partying. Darweshi told him, "My friend, can we talk privately?" Chumbo smiled and said, "Whatever you want to say to me, say it here. These are my people, and they are loyal to me." Darweshi smiled and said, "No, my friend, nobody here is loyal to you. They are all here for the money, but please my friend, think about what Mama Kioni said. You need to calm down and do some kind of investment. And besides, you have not helped any of your family members. They are all complaining. I saw your younger brother the other day. He said you don't pick his calls or allow him to come close to you. Chumbo my friend, please, take out time and think about what you are doing." Chumbo got upset. He said in anger, "So you came to my house to advise me? As my father or mother, what gave you that right, and who do you think you are? Because you failed to make a wise choice, and now you want me to live like you." Darweshi smiled and said, "My friend, I did not make a bad choice. My business is growing and things are beginning to look bright for me. I just want you to hear me out." Chumbo shouted, "Guards!" His bodyguards came in. Chumbo pointed at Darweshi and said, "Throw this poor man out of my house, and anytime I see him inside the house again, I will sack all of you and replace you immediately." The guards escorted Darweshi out of the house. 2 years later, Chumbo has become a strong name in the community. He went and took the chieftaincy title, making him a chief in the community. He kept spending money, traveling all over the world, while Darweshi's business has become very big, and also Darweshi got married and is now a family man. Things were going well for him. He has 7 warehouses where he stores his goods, as one of the biggest steel manufacturing companies in the community, and he transports his steel all over the country. One day, as Darweshi was sitting in his office, Chumbo walked in with his bodyguards. Darweshi looked surprised to see him. Chumbo apologized for the way he spoke to him the last time they met, and told Darweshi, "Hey my friend, I want to get married and settle down." "You know I am not getting any younger," Darweshi said. "Well, that is a great news. So when do you want to get married, and what is the plans, so we can see how to make it happen?" Chumbo smiled and said, "That is why I am here." He kept quiet for a while and then said, "I want to marry your sister Yamna." Darweshi smiled. He said, "You must be joking, my sister, that you refuse for me to train in school, who has now graduated and she is doing well. You are suddenly interested in her." "No, Chumbo, it will not work." Chumbo said, "I am a chief now, so whatever I want, I get. Besides, me getting married to your sister is a great thing. It will seal our friendship forever." Darweshi said, "Wait a minute, he took his phone and called his sister, who is now the manager of one of his steel companies, and told her, "Leave everything you are doing and come to my office." After a while, Yumna came in, looking beautiful as ever. As she saw Chumbo, her face changed. Darweshi noticed what happened and asked her, "Yumna, why did your face change? Immediately you saw my old friend." Yumna said, "Brother, he has been asking me to marry him, that he will take care of me, and you know I have a man I want to marry. I keep telling him, I am not interested, but he will not leave me alone." Darweshi said to Chumbo, "So the reason you came here is because you want to add my sister to one of the girls you are wasting their lives in this community. Well, you have heard her, she is not interested." Chumbo stood up and said, "Whatever I want, I get. I am way richer than you, and I can bring you down in just one day." Darweshi stood up and shouted, "Please leave my office." Chumbo smiled and said, "We shall see. I give you 24 hours to reconsider, or else." He walked out of the office. 2 days later, one morning, as Darweshi was getting ready for work, he received a call that shocked him. He was told that the police came and closed down his company, and all his warehouses are all closed down, that he needs to report to the police station. Darweshi was shocked. He quickly drove straight to the police station. As he got there, he was arrested, and they refused to tell him why he was arrested or why his company was closed down. After 2 hours of Darweshi's arrest, Chumbo came to the police station with his bodyguard and met with Darweshi in the interrogation room and told him, "I am behind all you are going through, and before you leave this room, I will be married to your sister. She has no choice but to marry me, or else you will rot here." Darweshi said, "My friend, we started this journey together. What has money done to you? I can hardly recognize this Chumbo. It's not the same friend I grew up with." Chumbo smiled and said, "By the time you come out, your sister will have become my wife." He stood up and left. That same evening, Yumna came to see Darweshi. She was crying bitterly. She said, "Brother, I don't know what to do. I have to marry your friend Chumbo. I don't want you to lose all you have worked so hard for, because of me." Darweshi said, "Don't worry, I will sort it out." Yumna looked surprised. She asked him, "What can you do from here? All your properties have been seized. Your wife and daughter are in pains. What can you possibly do?" Darweshi smiled and said, "Don't worry, just go home, tell my wife all is well, I will see her very soon." 2 days later, Chumbo was sitting in his living room, discussing over the phone about the wedding. He said, "I want the whole community to attend my wedding. So, I would like my wedding day to be declared a public holiday. Everyone should come and eat and celebrate with me. Don't worry, I will give you 50 million for you to make it a public holiday." He smiled as he spoke. After the call, Chumbo went into his secret room where his pot is, and dipped his hand as usual to take money, but the pot was empty. He tried several times, but nothing came out. The pot had stopped bringing money. Chumbo became scared. He quickly took the pot, ran into his car and drove straight to the road where they met Mama Kioni. He tried to locate the hut that Mama Kioni took them to that night, but he is very bad with roads, so he went back and stayed by the road where they met Mama Kioni. He waited there, till it was late in the evening, and suddenly Mama Kioni came to meet him. "What are you doing here, Chumbo?" Mama Kioni asked in her small shaky voice. Chumbo took a deep breath and said, "Mama, you lied to me. You said the money would never stop coming. That was my wish. Why have the money stopped?" Mama Kioni was quiet for a while, then she smiled and said to him, "Chumbo, you are a very selfish and greedy man. You used your wealth to get your elder brother locked up for telling you the truth in your family meetings. You never helped anybody or lifted anybody in your family. You oppress the poor and maltreat people daily, treating people like they are nothing. Then you locked up your friend, who is the reason you got the chance to become rich, because without him, your evil eyes will never be able to see me. Chumbo looked surprised. Mama Kioni added, only a man with a good heart can see me. So the man who threw him, you became rich, you wanted to oppress him and belittle him, just because you wanted to forcefully marry his younger sister. This is why a lot of people in this world will never prosper, because of their evil hearts. Chumbo said, Mama, I am sorry. I will change, but please, the money was not supposed to stop coming. Why did the money stop? Mama Kioni said, how many wishes did you have? Chumbo said, I had 2 wishes. Mama Kioni said, and you used both wishes? Chumbo replied, yes, I did, looking desperate and confused. Mama Kioni smiled and said, your friend Darweshi used only one of his wishes that day, so yesterday, he made his second wish. Chumbo's eyes widened in shock. Then he asked, what did he wish for? Mama Kioni said, he wished that the pot will stop bringing you money, so that is why the money has stopped coming. Chumbo's eyes became red, tears welling up in his eyes. He shouted, why would Darweshi make such a wish? Mama Kioni replied, you pushed him to the wall and you brought all this on yourself. I cannot help you, the pot is yours, go home, and she disappeared. In less than 2 months, Chumbo was completely broke. Some of the people he owes money came and collected his house and all the cars were sold to pay off some bills. While Darweshi was back in his business doing very well. One day, Chumbo came to see Darweshi, looking old and dirty. He apologized for all that he did and claimed that the money got to his head and he didn't know what he was doing. Darweshi accepted his apology and told him, for now, I cannot help you. Chumbo said, I know, but please give me a little money as transport for me to leave this community. I have become a laughingstock here. All the people I was hanging around with don't want to have anything to do with me, and also, my family has disowned me. I want to go to the city and start life afresh there. Maybe one day, I will pick up again. I have learnt my lesson. Darweshi gave him some money and he left the community, got into a bus going to the big city and never came back. Story ends. Moral of this story. In life, you will never know the true color of a man when he is poor. Wait, let him make money first, then you can fully know who the man truly is. Also, never use money or power to oppress anyone. Nothing lasts forever. I remain Uncle Sam. Stay safe.